Sound of a big slab of butter hitting a skillet when you're about to make pancakes. Those were the words my director said, a director who was more used to making teenagers cry than console. The event was a dress rehearsal for the musical Grease, and I, like many nerds, was in the High School Musical. I was playing the character of the DJ, the main brain, Vince Fontaine, for those of you who have seen Grease, but also was part of the dance troupes for any of the important dance numbers. And looking at me, you probably would think his body is more apt to be a linesman at football than being a lead dancer. But trust me, these weren't stag leaps or pliés. These were more jazz squares, step touches, maybe the occasional kickball change. Not anything that was terribly difficult. Except for the song Greased Lightning, the characteristic song of the musical Grease. I'm sure you all know the song. You've seen John Travolta singing and dancing to it in the movie version. It's about the teenage boy's wet dream of the best car possible. And so the choreographer and the director had their wet dream of the craziest dance number possible. While in other songs, it would be these simple motions of, just the step, touch, step, touch. Here, they had a vision. So from the wings, at the dance break of the song, they would roll tires out onto the stage at us. And those of us dancing were to grab the tire. And you would have a movement where you'd turn around with the tire, then turn back with the tire. But that's not the hard part. The hard part was then taking the tire, lifting it up, jumping, and getting into the tire, turning around, turning back around, jumping out of the tire, and holding it in front of you before doing your turn, roll it back to the wings. As the main brain, Vince Fontaine, my set was this wooden form to look like a DJ's booth that would have to be at different parts of the set, at different parts of the musical, and being a large guy, I was responsible for moving it. This was the second rehearsal of the evening because it was the Wednesday of show week, and the director would get very pissy on show week, so our first dress rehearsal was not of sufficient quality, so we had to do it again. In doing it again, I was tired. I'd had to dance all these dance numbers. I had to move this big wooden cutout through the stage for the second time. And things there wasn't the same amount of energy. So when we came to Greased Lightning, doing the dance number, doing the tires, get in the tire, do the turn, jump out, and in jumping out, my toes catch the inside of the tire. And because I was a good dancer, and because I was kind of large, they had me at the front of stage left. So that way, I could block the audience's line of sight from the worst dancers that would be behind me. So that meant when my toes caught the inside of the tire, I was launched, and I couldn't get out in time to just catch myself. So instead, I launched off the stage in this beautiful arc and splat into the concrete pit below. The pit band stopped. The dancers stopped. And my director walked up, looked down at me, and I wasn't moving because I had knocked the wind out of my lungs. I'd gone 4 feet minimum distance, but with the launching, maybe more like 6. And concrete's not forgiving. And that's when he said, it sounded like when you take a big wad of butter and you throw it into a skillet when you're making pancakes. He then said to me, you didn't have to take one so hard for the team to end rehearsal for the night. Everyone go home.